The end of the world is here. This crisis has revealed that the Earth is sick and the system is a catastrophic failure. It's one that produces a surplus of war machines, but doesn't have enough ventilators for those gasping for air.
FEMA says we're sending 400 ventilators. Really? What am I going to do with 400 ventilators when I need 30,000? You pick the 26,000 people who are going to die because you only sent 400 ventilators.
Nothing will ever be the same. That much is certain. What is happening will change the economic, political, psychological, and conscious state of the Earth forever. The question is, what kind of change will it be? Will it be a positive change or a negative change? This is up to us right now. Humanity can be the cure, or it can be the cancer. The end of the world as we know it may be here, but with every end comes a new beginning. Let's discover what this new world could look like and what you can do, what we can do to make sure that we enter into a new, beautiful, unified world rather than a dystopian nightmare. The events in our world has clearly shown that our system has failed. Capitalism does nothing but look out for big business and corporations and leaves the people to fend for themselves against a horrifying nightmare that is befalling and afflicting the planet. Governments are increasingly looking towards other solutions that either lead towards socialism or even autocratic dictatorship. We must now have an awakening of consciousness so that we go towards positive solutions that lead to a more unified and united world rather than negative solutions that lead the world towards a system of enslavement and a loss of freedom. We must look towards that which gives us a maximization of freedom for us as a collective. The answer does not lie in socialism or capitalism. It lies in a new way of thinking, a new kind of consciousness, a new way of thinking about humanity, the world, and what we are. It's time to evolve and go higher. Don't think of politics as the bureaucratic bullshit that it currently is, but instead just understand it's about structuring and organizing the world, just as we would organize and structure a body as a living being. The great philosopher Hegel understood that the universe was an evolving mind, and he looked at things like governments, states, societies, and cultures as parts and pieces of a unified, evolving mind that must be structured and organized with that knowledge and understanding. He knew that it was all about mind, meaning that reaching higher ideas, higher levels of thought is what will bring us to a new level of reality, to a new and higher conscious culture. So it's time to start a new culture now, not a culture of product, but a culture of consciousness, a culture of life. Now is the time to be smart and realistic. I know that there are many out there who want a utopian society where everyone can govern themselves and there is no money, where we are free to explore our world in whatever way we so will. However, we must be realistic and transition to that. We need an intermediary step, a system that will get us to that end result. We can't jump to the end right away. What steps can we take to get us from the nightmare that the world is now to a society of gods and goddesses? What needs to happen is a dialectical synthesis of opposing ideas. What is the dialectic? The dialectic, to put it very simply, takes two opposing ideas, takes the best elements, the best pieces from both of those ideas, and combines them together to create a third idea that is higher and above and superior to the two ideas that it was formed from. So it's not about socialism, it's not about capitalism, just even forget those words exist. It's about looking at what works and what doesn't, and combining them together to create a third and higher idea, an idea that transcends these limited definitions that people put in place to divide. The German word Aufheben means to create, destroy, and go above, all at the same time. And this is what we must do. We must look at the ideas on the table, destroy the bad elements of all of them, and create something that is above and higher all of them by incorporating the best elements that each one offers. We need elements of socialism, such as universal health care, universal education, enough resources for everyone so that they can live a healthy life without worrying about losing their home. We also need some elements of capitalism, where healthy competition is allowed to grow so that people have an incentive to be able to grow, and where they are rewarded according to their achievements. However, we also need to put limitations on those elements so that we don't have a tyrannical billionaire class arise that destroys the world and puts profit over people. The thing that I really want to do here is to get away from these divisive words like socialism and capitalism, these concepts that people will argue about semantics and they'll miss the big picture. It's not about being, well, I'm a socialist or I'm a capitalist. It's not about that. It's about changing the mindset of how we view the world. For example, under a capitalistic mindset, the world is viewed as this machine, this corporation, this factory that is just producing and churning out profit, churning out products that ensure that the billionaire class flourish while the rest of the world burns. So don't let these words and definitions deter you. Think about the effect, think about the mindset, and think about what we can create. Don't think, oh, I don't like that idea just because it's a socialist idea, or I don't like that idea just because it's a capitalist idea. No. That's not what it's about. It's about looking at what we can do, regardless of these definitions, to create a new world. And what we need to do is create a world that is no longer viewed as a machine and a factory, but a world that is viewed as a united, living mind, a living body, an organism of life, so that we are putting life above profit, so that we are putting people above profit. And we need this system. We need this system of transition to get us to a brilliant new world. So when we think of the world as a living body and a living mind, we will structure it completely differently. The world structured as a living body. Imagine a body. Each piece of the body is different, but it has its place. What this means is, in a new society, it would be organized according to merit. Those who are the most skilled and demonstrate knowledge and intelligence in their profession would be able to make decisions that have to do with the field that they are in. For example, healthcare and medical professionals will be the ones making decisions when we are facing a threat to our health. Scientists would be the ones making decisions when facing things like climate change. And this is in stark contrast to the world that we have now, where politicians that are worried about their image and their ratings are making decisions based on their popularity and looking good, where corporations are making the decisions because they want to make a profit rather than save the world and save lives. This is why those who are making decisions in a world that is structured like a living organism, instead of a factory, instead of a machine, instead of a corporation, would be making decisions based on the health of that body and according to the intelligence of the individual who is trained and educated in their field. Those that wish to be leaders must be meritable. They must demonstrate that they have the skills to lead. They must be compassionate. They must show that they have the will and the good of the collective, of the world as a whole, at the forefront of their mind. And they must show that they have the ability to reason, that they can be guided by the understanding that we're trying to make progress in the world rather than being guided by their their emotions and wanting to dominate and start wars, but rather that they are looking towards building a new future for all of us together. No longer can we be led by corporations, big business, and politicians just worried about popularity. Enough already. When we structure the world like a living mind and a living unity, we have the good of all in mind, as well as the individual as being individual cells in that world, in that body. Can you imagine how much better equipped we would be right now if our system was led by those who had the good of the world in mind, and we weren't wasting trillions of dollars on war machines, but instead on science, technology, education, and those things that will bring us closer to a new world? People are looking for a cure, but the truth is this world has been sick for a very long time. And humanity can be the cure, or it can be the cancer. We are looking to usher in a new age, an age of unity, one where we understand that we're all in this together. We are the cure. So let's build a world where we have universal healthcare, where we have universal education, where we have the good of the people in mind, where we don't have to worry about losing our homes or being able to pay rent. But instead, we know that we are all looking out for each other, and those who are in leadership positions have the good of us, of the community in mind, rather than trying to make the rich richer. We can completely redesign the world. We have enough resources to make this happen. There is more than enough. It's just that the global elites, the rich elites, are hoarding it all for themselves like dragons laying on hoards of money. A Hyperion meritocratic system will reduce the emphasis on money, remove the rich elite from power and guarantee they can never rise again, provide equal opportunity for all the while maintaining that those who show brilliance and talent are rewarded according to their achievements, and making sure that only the most meritable, compassionate, and rational can take leadership positions. So it's time for free housing, free education, free healthcare, a universal basic income. It's time for all the things necessary to live a life are given to the people. How idiotic do you have to be to not realize that this should be a given, that this should be a fundamental, that this isn't something that should be controversial or argued about? Why is it that making sure that people have what they need to live is something that's controversial? Enough already. The time to spread these ideas and wake up the world is now. We are a revolution of consciousness, and we must do the work to build a new world so that we can avoid the possibility of a future of an autocratic dictatorship, a dystopian nightmare, and instead enter into a brilliant new world, a new phase of humanity, the age of unity. We are ushering in the age of unity. So what's it going to be? Are you going to stand with us and be a part of the cure? Help us usher in this new age, this age of unity. We will unite the individual, unite the world, and unite the universe. Our time is now. So forget the divisive tools of those who intend to inflict fracture in the world. Instead of people conning and cheating and lying their way to the top, we need a system that rewards people according to their true achievements to better the world, better themselves, and better each other through astounding works of art, innovations of thought, and brilliant, compassionate, rational leadership. The world has been sick for so long, and the disease is capitalism, consumerism, the billionaire class, the rich elites, those who hoard all the resources for themselves while everyone else suffers. The planet is being torn apart, but we can rebuild it. We can build it on the idea that humans are free beings, not commodities to be bought and sold, but instead those with infinite potential, those that are more valuable than any amount of money. Instead of focusing on money and products, if we treat people for what they truly are, seeds of potential, then this world will blossom and a brilliant new age will bloom. So join us. Don't be a part of the sickness. Be a part of the cure. Share this information everywhere and make sure you stay updated. I go live every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Also, watch this very important video about the current state of the world. Watch this one as well. Subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoy what we're doing, consider supporting on Patreon so I can bring you even higher quality content. My name is Morg and I am Hyperion. Ad Astra, to the stars.